I don't know what either of them are on about. One of them talking about some snails in Buddhism, and the other one's like flowers in East and West. Like, yo, what are you on about?
Yosa Buson, 1716 to 1784. One of our favorite, most famous haikuists. First poem we have, of course, very short. A summer river being crossed, how pleasing with sandals in my hands.
That's it.
That's a haiku for you.
Jesus. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like that one is very like you're there, you know, like in the water. Your ankles.
That's you,
like,
bro. That's you.
Water splashing your ankles, like holding your sandals, crossing a little river.
Yeah, I do think it's very sensory. It's something like everyone's done. You know, you can feel it like gold and stones and all those details. It's kind of like he doesn't have to write all of those details. You feel them anyway.
It's like, yo, you can relate, am I right? We've all been there. Right? The summer, yeah, y'all know summer. All right.
You know.
Right, let's see.
Kind of like, you know.
Yeah, actually. And like in this case, the translation is quite on point. It's literally just summer river, cross happiness, in your hand sandal. That's literally what it says.
Nice.
Yeah. All right. Well, yo, you can relate, right, viewer? You've been in the summer and the river and the sandals and everything, you know.
And the sandals and everything.
You know it is. You know it is. Also, I guess this guy's like into his seasons. Like he's got poems about every season.
Indeed.
Wow.
What it's making me think of is a lot of amateur writers will describe every single detail about, especially people when they're describing like a new character. They'll either not describe them at all, or they'll be like, you know, she had red hair, metaphor about red hair. She had green eyes, metaphor about green eyes. Her nose was long and her lips were thin and her tongue was pink and her
tongue was pink.
And it's like, I get it, you know. The example, or not the example, what I tell them to do when I'm working with them is like pick a few general big things. So, you know, they were tall. That's something you would notice about somebody if they're very tall. They had red hair. That's kind of a standout detail. A couple big things, and then like one really specific detail that is unique about them, because everyone's got one. So maybe like, you know, I'm having these dangly earrings could be something like if you had a freckle or something. Murat's wearing earphones. That could be something. Just a little detail so that when they come back, you'll remember who they are.
He's the guy with earphones.
Well, you know. I know we are not a fan on the podcast right now of J.K. Rowling's politics, but she's actually really good at this in Harry Potter.
Really?
She's really, really good at this. Like every time Hermione's hair shows up, she'll be like Hermione's bushy hair. Every time, you know, we see Harry, we see his glasses. Every time, like she mentions it constantly over and over and over, to the point where if you say something like half moon glasses, you think of Dumbledore because they bring it up all the time. And it helps the characters kind of stick in your head. So anyway, what this kind of reminds me of is that, like, we don't need to describe how smooth the stones are and how cold the water is. It looks like all the light and everything. Like the one detail he picked is enough to get the whole point across, which is really quite good.
Right. Which, like, it's kind of cool that, like, going, like, you know, adding to what you're saying, he didn't pick a detail about anything beyond the fact that it's summer and it's nice. And that was enough to evoke emotion. Which, you know, that's cool. That's an interesting look at that. And especially since, I don't know, like, maybe that's also a cultural thing. Because, I do agree, over-explanation of detail. Thinking of you, Heart of Darkness. I hated that book. Like, it's not a literary genius's... It's not indication of brilliance, you know? Well, culturally in Japan, it's the opposite. The more you explain something, the less of a meaning it has. Because of the way their language works. Because, yeah, I feel like Western literature, I don't know if it's like a sense of grandiosity, or I don't know where that culture comes from. Is it like high-end literature's, what do you even call that? Like flexing
You know,
Like fictional thing.
kind of. I'm working with a Russian author right now. Her book is translated into English, but she is very wordy. Like, and I think it is a cultural thing because I keep kind of suggesting, these two words mean pretty much the same thing. Cut one of them, and she's like, no.
No, those are my words.
And I'm wondering, those Russian books like War and Peace, Crime and Punishment are huge. I'm wondering if that might be kind of why. Like if they just, that's kind of the culture in Russia is overdoing it, in my point of view. But I think everyone kind of does it in a different way. And also early 20th century English works are really wordy. Like if you get Poe in a way, like Edgar Allan Poe over explains things. It's effective, but it's over explained.
It's over explained. Yeah.
I think it's been slowly like getting trimmed down over time.
Yeah. I also remember reading Jane Eyre in high school and like feeling so like slogging through the details. It just made me really hate the book. And I don't know, maybe I'd feel differently if I read it again, but yeah, you can definitely overdo it.
Yeah, it just makes it inaccessible, I think.